If you've spent more than 5 minutes on my channel, you already know the deal. I show a lot of orbs out here. They float across the pasture, they drift by the fence line, and they occasionally crash the party on my security cameras. But joking aside, what on earth are they actually? Are they just very photogenic dust motes? Or is there something much bigger going on out here in the woods? Today, we're going to look past the obvious and do a complete deep dive overview into what these luminous spheres might actually be. Now, before we get into the fun stuff, let's lay down our standard ground rules. I am not an expert, a scientist, or a professional researcher. I am just a normal person living and working out here on my farm. Everything I'm sharing with you today is strictly my own personal opinion based on my unique first-hand observations. I don't claim to have the absolute answers pinned down, and I always encourage everyone to use their own discernment. I'm simply opening up my digital video archive to look at the leading explanations spanning mainstream science, ancient global folklore, the metaphysical, and a fascinating modern theory tying them directly to the cryptid presence. Let's start with the most conventional lens, mainstream science. Traditional physics and photography experts usually point to two main explanations. The first is backscatter, which happens when a camera's infrared light source reflects off a microscopic dust particle, moisture droplet, or insect floating too close to the lens, creating an unfocused, glowing circle on screen. The second is ball lightning, a rare, unexplained atmospheric electrical phenomenon where luminous spherical objects appear during or after electrical storms. While backscatter explains basic camera artifacts, it falls short when an orb demonstrates intelligent, self-propelled movement, completely changes direction against the wind, or actively avoids physical obstacles like fences and tree branches. When standard science leaves a giant question mark, metaphysical and spiritual theories step in. For centuries, these glowing lights have been viewed as spirits or nature anomalies. In many spiritual traditions, orbs are thought to be the pure energy signatures of conscious entities operating outside our standard visual spectrum, becoming visible only when a digital camera's sensor captures their specific frequency. This phenomenon is deeply rooted in global history. Long before modern video cameras existed to archive these moments, different cultures across every race and century were documenting these exact same lights. Right here in Appalachia, generations of locals have documented the famous spook lights and valley lights floating through the ridges, treating them as ancient guardians of the hills. Across the ocean in Celtic folklore, these glowing spheres were called fairy lights, the energy of the Aosis, an ancient, non-human race living parallel to our world. Seeing them meant you were standing at a portal where two dimensions touched. In Native American traditions, they were recognized as conscious ghost lights or ancient guardians traveling through the forest to watch over the ecosystem. And in ancient Chinese lore, they documented guihua, or ghost fires, the concentrated ancestral energy of the land moving through the mountains. If we look even further back into the ancient world, the Egyptians wrote of the conscious, shining spheres of light crossing between dimensions. The Greeks and Romans documented the ignis fatuus, or mysterious living flames that hovered over the untamed wilderness. Even biblical texts are filled with descriptions of cheshmal and amber, radiating, self-propelled energy capsulant pillars of fire that guided people through the wild. Across every age, these lights were recognized as the signature of an unseen order. Interestingly, a vast majority of this orb activity happens right around midnight here on the farm. In ancient lore, midnight was known as the ultimate liminal time, the exact transition point where one day ends and another begins, causing the veil between dimensions to become paper-thin. It's also when human noise goes silent, the traffic stops, the world sleeps, and the chaotic frequency pollution of human activity clears out. the land resets to its baseline vibration. And it's during these quiet, midnight hours that we have to ask the most compelling question in alternative research today. Is it possible that cryptids, like Sasquatch or Dogmen, can actually orb or use this phenomenon as a form of movement? To understand this, we have to look past standard biology and consider the multidimensional frequency theory. I believe these beings operate at a much higher vibration than humans. Many researchers hypothesize that when these large physical beings need to travel long distances quickly, slip past human detection, or cross physical barriers like our farm fences, they don't always walk in a three-dimensional body. Instead, they may be able to compress or shift their physical mass into pure energy. Under this theory, an orb isn't a separate ghost. It is the condensed, high-frequency energy signature of a cryptid in transit. It's their consciousness traveling in a lightweight, cloaked form. When they reach their destination, they can drop their frequency back down, stepping back into their physical body. This would perfectly explain how massive apex predators can vanish into thin air without leaving footprints behind. Whether these spheres are atmospheric anomalies, ancient spirits, or our massive neighbors navigating the property in a form we can barely comprehend, one thing is certain. They are an ongoing, magnificent part of this land. By keeping my intentions peaceful and turning a blind eye to the deep woods, I am simply thankful that I get to witness and archive these brief glimpses into the unknown. We don't need all the answers to date. We just need the respect to coexist with the mystery. Thank you for watching this educational overview. I put these videos out as a digital archive of my recordings, and to let anyone else seeing these lights know that they are not alone. Keep looking past the obvious and stay safe out there.